I always kind of was into technology, how that worked together with creating music. Balancing the tactile and the non-tactile, it's something that I love. My name is Wendy Wang, and I scored the music for American Born Chinese. I started playing piano when I was 4 years old. I think it was 4th grade. I joined the school band, and the instrument I chose was clarinet. Both my parents were born in Taiwan. I didn't play a lot of Taiwanese music. We did have one songbook. Whenever I played it, my mom would kind of like run over. I would play the song and she would sing it with me. I went to UCLA for business economics and accounting, and while I was doing that, I was working at a music shop. My coworker had a band that got a record deal, and he's like, "We're going on tour, do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah," and then that was kind of it. When somebody asks me what I do, I say I write and record pop music, and I compose music for film and television. My first composing gig, I got a call from Melvin Marr asking me if I'd be interested in composing for the show he was working on called Doogie Kameāloha MD. I was definitely very nervous because it was my first show. I didn't know the infrastructure of how post-production works. So many questions like, what is a dub day? Just things that people were kind of just throwing out there, just being like, everybody knows what this is. But everybody was very gracious and helped me through that. I got the call for American Born Chinese. Again, Melvin was like, I have this show. I feel like you'd be into doing this. I was really excited and thrilled to have that opportunity. So the initial conversations with American Born Chinese, they wanted something that sounded Chinese but new, traditional in a different way. The first thing that they asked me was, can you make music that sounds grand? It doesn't have to be necessarily grand like orchestral. In my mind, I'm like, okay, this is a show that has some grand elements, but in a non-traditional way. It was like a big puzzle. How do we present traditional music in a new way? Music that is both Asian and American. So if I were to describe the score as a person, it'd be somebody who's curious, likes beautiful things, some thoughtfulness, and is also high energy at times. One of the things that Kelvin wanted to emphasize, this relationship between Jin, the protagonist, and his mother. Like, she wants to understand her son, and she's never been in his position, and he doesn't fully understand hers. There's like a real tenderness between them, and there's lots of humor because it's hard to contextualize everything to each other, but there's a lot of grace. And there's Jin sorting out his place in Western teenage culture. And it shows up in small ways like, did you make the soccer team? Are other people into the same things that you're into? Jin has a theme. It grows throughout the season from kind of like simple piano theme. It becomes more lush. It goes like da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-da-na. It's a simple melody, but then the chords underneath it brings new things out of the melody. In this score, there are some vocals that I ended up singing. I kind of used like a girl group approach, like la 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 la, like the Ronettes or Supremes, yeah, stuff like that. I studied classical guitar for a couple years, and there's this piece in there that's very Spanish influenced. And Taiwanese music is very influenced by Latin music, and I thought, hey, this might be cool, like, to try it out. So I got to play some classical guitar riffs. The first piece I wrote was the Monkey King's theme. So a couple of the characters are on a fantastical heavenly quest. When I came up with that theme, I was channeling like, okay, what would my mom and dad be listening to? And I stumbled upon this thing that felt really natural. Sonically, this piece has this kind of mysterious, repeated pattern. It's a pattern of 5, and then I'm playing it in 4. I thought that was kind of like fun to try because it's like something that's a little bit off. And then I played like a bass flute through a Wolf compressor wow. So Wolf compressor, there's a little selection on it that lets you decide how much of a wow effect you want. If you're playing a tape and it's an old tape, it's not going to be all consistent, so you're going to get some slowdowns, so it's lower in pitch, or it's going to go higher in pitch. Gives it some character because it's lived a life. Growing up in the South Bay, I think I was maybe like one of like 10 Asian kids in like the entire city. I definitely felt like an outsider in a lot of ways. There were also so many people who invited me into their lives. There was like so much kindness, but at the same time, like when I went to my white friend's house, it was very different from my house. Those kinds of experiences that I see in the show were very much very real.